Vikings head coach Brad Childress. Minnesota started the season 10-1. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. But a win today and an Eagles loss, and the Vikings clinch a first-round bye. And Vikings today facing a depleted New York Giants roster.
You know, one of the things that's really impacted them is the health of their offensive line. And again, you look there, Rich Seibert, Kareem McKenzie out of the lineup. Brandon Jacobs, a procedure on his knee. I'm sure he was carrying that the majority of the season. So what has been kind of the benchmark of this Giant team, their offensive line and their ability to run the football, severely impacted throughout the year and again today.
Short kickoff by Lawrence Tynes, keeping it away from Percy Harvin. Jeff Dugan, backup tight end on the return. And Dugan takes it out to the 40, so terrific starting field position for the 40-year-old quarterback, Brett Favre.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll just kick it deep and trust our coverage unit. I agree with what Tony and Brett Favre were talking about at the top of the broadcast with Adrian Peterson. Get him the ball, run him hard. Defenses are going to come in, they're going to try and stop him. And again, you know, kind of like the Giants, this offensive line down the stretch, which was a dominant part for Minnesota early in the season, not playing as well as they were in September and October.
3 wide receivers set for the Vikings. Kiwanuka jumped. So a Giants penalty prior to the first play from scrimmage. Terry McCauley is our referee. So now 1st and 5 from the 45-yard line. Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Percy Harvin in the slot. Favre back to throw on 1st down. And the pass was deflected and Favre was knocked down. As we check out the 10th-ranked Giants defensive unit, which allowed 41 points last week at home against Carolina.
Yeah, and that's the 4th time they've allowed over 40 points this season. Hasn't happened since back in the 60s. And this is the question mark for me in this game today. This Giant defense, they did not play well last week, and the game plan by Carolina was very basic. To me, the biggest opportunity they have is their quickness in their defensive line versus the size of the offensive line of Minnesota.
They missed tackles all game long last Sunday. 2nd and 5. Favre over the middle to the tight end. The former Giant, Visanthe Shanko, having a terrific season. It's his 50th reception. Shanko gains 13.
Well, there's a great start by this Giant defense. A penalty on the first snap, and then here comes that tackling issue you talked about last week, Kenny. Jonathan Goff, what are you doing up top high? Get down and wrap up around his waist and get him to the ground. I have seen so many poor tackling exhibitions this season. It's unbelievable.
Chester Taylor replaces Peterson in the backfield. And this is Taylor inside the 35. Picks up another Vikings 1st down. Finally tackled by the right corner, Terrell Thomas. Chester Taylor gains 11.
Chester Taylor's a very patient running back. If you watch him back there, he waits for the hole to go and show itself, and then he hits it. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a 1-2 punch with Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor. Reminds me back in Baltimore, Darryl. We had Jamal Lewis and you know who. Do you know, Darryl?
I do. Chester Taylor.
Another big play. Percy Harvin. 3rd consecutive play in which the Vikings have picked up a 1st down. 22 yards for Harvin.
You know, we talk about individuals or groups getting into a rhythm and being able to play well from the start. And one of the things is there's another side to that equation, and that's a team that comes out and starts slowly or starts poorly. Do they have the ability to turn it around? And you speak to some of the people that are close to the Giants, and they wonder if this defense, if they get off to a poor start, can they ever get it turned back around? This is the worst possible scenario for this group right now, to have Minnesota go right down the field.
Off the play fake, Favre, Shanko, touchdown.
That's a clinic.
Wow.
The Minnesota Vikings make it look easy on their opening drive. 5 plays, 60 yards. And for the former Giant, Visanthe Shiancoe, his 11th touchdown reception this season.
When you're in the red zone, there's certain things you look for. Visanthe Shiancoe is a weapon in the red zone for Brett Favre. You look at their 30 touchdown passes this season, a lot of those going to, over a third of those going to Visanthe Shiancoe.
9th 30 touchdown season for Favre. No one else has done it more than 5 times as Dominic Hickson is upended at the 25-yard line by Hussein Abdullah, 23-yard return.
They struggled with this so much last week. I want you to watch Michael Boley, number 52, and then also Aaron Rouse as they step in. They don't recognize run pass. Visanthe Shiancoe has him outflanked already. Now last week when Carolina played the Giants, they established Jonathan Stewart. Then they go to the play action, the bootlegs, misdirection like that. The Giant defenders were awful recognizing run pass, and it's carried over to the first drive this afternoon.
So now Eli Manning and the Giants start from their own 25-yard line. Ahmad Bradshaw for the injured Brandon Jacobs in the backfield off the fake to Bradshaw. The pass from Manning is complete out at the 28-yard line. 98th reception of the season for Steve Smith.
Well, one of the question marks coming into the year was the wide receiver situation for the New York Giants. Eli Manning quietly having a very, very good year, and his wide receiving core has had an outstanding year. The big problem for the Giants is up front. Sean O'Hara making it to the Pro Bowl again. I think Will Beatty's going to be a good player for him down the future, but this line that was together for a couple of seasons has been really shaken up by the injury bug this year.
On 2nd and 7, it's Smith again. A couple of milestones in reach for the Giants. 100 receptions for Smith, 50 for Hakeem Nicks as we check out the Vikings defense, and Eli well aware he wants to get his receivers to those marks.
Yeah, well, he's going to have an opportunity today because this is a defense that you don't really want to spend a whole lot of time running into. What you want to do is challenge them in the passing game. Cedric Griffin, and then here's Antoine Winfield, who's battling a foot injury that he's carried with him most of the season. You got to have a lot of trust that he's putting himself out there on the field healthy enough to play, but it has definitely impacted him during the course of the year.
Penalty markers on 1st down. 2nd penalty against the Giants.
This is one of those places that you play in. You can't let the crowd know that the noise is bothering you. And we've had, whether it was the defense or now here with the offense, we've had penalties by the Giants pre-snap.
Bradshaw running left on 1st and 15, breaks a tackle and gets to the 36-yard line. A gain of 5. You mentioned Antoine Winfield's foot injury, missed 6 games earlier this season. He is not on the field right now. Benny Sapp is in at left corner.
Well, everybody saw the play last week in overtime against the Chicago Bears. It was over the top of Antoine Winfield. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. When you talk about a complete corner, his run support, his aggressiveness, and he's a good cover guy. So obviously with that injury, it has really impacted Minnesota's pass defense.
2 tight ends in the game for the Giants. On 2nd and 10, Bradshaw gains 2. Now Manning calls timeout. Back in Minneapolis, Vikings out to a 7-0 lead. Today the end of the road for the Giants, a season which held such promise. They started the year 5-0. But have lost 7 of their last 10 games.
We get into the middle of October, and the Giants are the team to beat in the NFC. And from that point on, they were the team that was beaten by just about everybody in the NFC.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, Darryl.
Giants hope to finish strong today. 3rd down and 8. And Manning's pass is nearly intercepted by Cedric Griffin. He was looking for Steve Smith.
Just opportunities to make plays. They'll come about during the course of the game, and you have to take advantage of them. And that's why I think it's a little bit to do with what Jared Allen said. Everybody take a look at yourself. Am I doing all that I can? There's going to be a handful of plays during the course of the game that can change it. Cedric Griffin has one right there and lets it slip through his fingers.
So here's Jeff Feagles, who today becomes only the 2nd player in league history joining George Blanda to play in 4 different decades. Feagles Vikings drove 60 yards on 5 plays on their opening drive. Favre to Shanko. And now the Vikings start from their own 20-yard line. First down, and the catch is made by Bernard Berrien in Giants territory at the 40-yard line. A 41-yard pass play.
Well, Brett Favre's getting him hurried up to the line of scrimmage just to make sure this can't be reviewed. We'll take a look at it and see if he's just in that. I think it's a good catch by Bernard Berrien. Nope. I think it's a good idea that he's hustling. Smart play by the Minnesota Vikings.
Chester Taylor down to the 38-yard line.
Yeah, that right foot went right out of bounds. Never got the 2 in bounds. Heads up play.
Yeah, now we got a little bit of time. Let's go back and take a look at this and see if Bernard Berrien has control. I don't think he had control before he went out of bounds. Heads up play by Brett Favre. He was on a sprint down the field to get his guys together, get him to the line of scrimmage, quick snap it so you can't review it. Little things, Goose. Attention to detail.
The Giants coaches upstairs did not have a lot of time to look at it on the replay. Good job by Favre and the Vikings. Now 2nd down and 7 from the Giants 37. Pass is caught by Percy Harvin. And a nice tackle that time by Terrell Thomas.
It's amazing the difference in the noise level when they're on offense compared to when they're on defense. Now you know what home field advantage is all about. You could hear a pin drop when this offense is on the field.
Well, the funny thing, Goose, is you talk to people around the people that like football, watch football, and say, well, what's the big deal with Minnesota and New Orleans? They both play inside. You know, is the 1 seed versus the 2 seed that big a deal? Like, yeah, you go to both of those venues and see the difference of when the offense or the defense is on the field. You won't even have to ask that question.
Well, the hard count comes into play, everything. We saw that in the first series.
Weather's not an issue. It's all about the noise.
Vikings have not lost at home this season. A perfect 7-0 record. Favre on 3rd down. Vikings wanted a flag. Michael Boley on the coverage. Pass intended for Chester Taylor.
Pretty good coverage on that one by Michael Boley. Chester Taylor is a good receiver coming out of the backfield. They even flex him out a little bit there to give him a chance. Michael Boley's got his right hand on the shoulder, but he doesn't pull him. The crowd here is watching the replay and they're booing. As long as you don't pull him, you can have your hand on that, but as long as you don't impede his forward progress.
That's good coverage. That's good coverage.
Penalty marker as Cleary's punt is down inside the 10, but there is a flag out at the 20-yard line.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 35. Half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Vikings lead the Giants 7-0. Minnesota scored a touchdown on their opening drive. The Vikings win and an Eagles loss, and Minnesota would earn a first-round bye. Otherwise, the Vikings will play next week. Manning to Smith, and that is reception number 100, the first New York Giant in history to catch 100 passes in one season.
Well, he was Eli's go-to guy early on in the season. It's one of those guys that you don't really, you didn't know anything about him. There was not a book on Steve Smith when he came in. You say Steve Smith, you automatically think about the Carolina Panthers. You're not thinking about the Giants. And he's had a great season. And we talked to him early on in the year. He's a good guy on top of that.
Led the Giants with 57 receptions a year ago. 2nd down and 4 by Bradshaw. Bradshaw picks up a first down after a nice cut to his left. Bradshaw out to the 20-yard line, a gain of 8.
One of the things that has impacted the Giants offense this year is they've gotten knocked out of their character a little bit. We've talked about the issues with the offensive line. Brandon Jacobs obviously carrying that knee. He had surgery or will have surgery. Ahmad Bradshaw's battled a foot injury all season long. So now all of a sudden you can't run the ball well. They've had some turnovers this year, fallen behind quick, and they haven't been able to get into that rhythm that they were able to all last season.
Two tight ends from the 20-yard line. Manning in trouble, gets rid of it. Bradshaw drops it.
We've kind of talked about the different season that the Giants have had. Their first 5 games, they're +6, and you look what's happened to them over the last 10, -11. And you have those types of situations, and you're going to find yourself behind. And, you know, when you get into that second half and you're down double digits, you've got to get out of what you do best. And for the Giants, that's run and play action.
Manning on 2nd and 10. Wow. Able to get rid of it, and the catch is made up at the 30-yard line, close to a first down. Travis Beckham picked up a first on his 7th reception of the season. Giants started this drive back at their own 5-yard line. Bradshaw cuts to his right, stays on his feet, fights back to the line of scrimmage. Ben Lieber, along with Ray Edwards, made the tackle.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that effort by Eli Manning on the last play. He's moving left, he's right-handed, he's got guys all over him. Watch this little adjustment at the end here as he gets snugged up to the sideline. That's athletic right there. You don't, when you think of mobile quarterbacks that ad-lib on the move, I'm not sure if Eli Manning is one of those guys that jumps right in front of the conversation, but that was a heck of a play right there.
That's a nice job by Travis Beckham, too. A rookie finding where he needs to be to get that first down also.
3rd-round pick out of Wisconsin. Now Bradshaw tries to bounce it to his right, but Jasper Brinkley was right there to make the tackle.
We talk about how important it is to identify run and pass. I'll tell you what, this Minnesota Vikings defense is doing an unbelievable job of identifying and communicating throughout on the run and pass situation.
And now we hear the noise you were talking about, Tony, with the Vikings defense on the field, 3rd and 10.
That noise makes it hard for Eli to communicate. You guys got to be looking inside at the ball.
Giants must get to the 40. The pass deflected at the line by Kevin Williams.
Kevin Williams does a nice job of going and seeing that he's not going to get much of a pass rush. Saw Eli Manning winding up to get the ball downfield, and does a great job of getting his hands up and tipping the ball right there.
Kevin Williams headed to his 5th Pro Bowl, one of 8 Vikings selected this week. More than any other team in the NFL. 8 Pro Bowlers will represent the Minnesota Vikings. Fiegel's 2nd punt from his own 20-yard line. And it's out of bounds right around the 20. We mentioned the Vikings will have 8 players representing their franchise in the Pro Bowl. Brett Favre selected for his 11th time. Adrian Peterson his 3rd. Sidney Rice his 1st. Brian McKinney's 1st. Steve Hutchinson's 7th. Jared Allen's 3rd. Kevin Williams 5th. And Heath Farwell on special teams heading to his 1st Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of the new format this year. Being prior to the Super Bowl, one of my Pro Bowl years, I would not have been able to participate in it. And you know, it was one of the things I looked forward to. I know some guys try to get out of it at times, but for me, I wanted to get over there.
From the 33-yard line, off the play fake to Peterson. The pass is caught and taken out to the 45-yard line by Shanko, a gain of 12.
And I would just come at him and I would run play action and run play action. Mix in Chester Taylor and Adrian Peterson until the Giants show me that they can defend play action better than they did last week. A lot of guys getting there late, Tony. I mean, they're showing up after he's on the ground.
Yeah, Shanko does a nice job of clearing, though. What a stiff arm he gave at the line of scrimmage to get wide open. I like the way he plays.
Spent his first 4 seasons with the Giants, having a breakout season here in Minnesota. From the 45 on first down, Peterson, and it's Danny Clark who breaks through to make the tackle. Loss of 5 yards.
That's a nice call. I like a blitz call on a run down. Even if you know it's going to be run, still going with it, getting the penetration and making the big play. Tackle for a loss in the backfield. That's a heads-up play by Danny Clark. You got to get there. Adrian has no time to even make a cut or anything on that play. Nice call.
Empty backfield, second down and 15. Chester Taylor split to the right. Favre complete, and another nice tackle. Michael Boley, the first Giant, as Shanko gains 5, setting up third down and 10.
This is a good response by this Giants defense, because Minnesota went right down the field on the opening drive, made it look very easy, and we talked about it. There's some people that wonder if when things start to go against this group, can they stop it and turn it around into the other direction? This afternoon, up until this point, they have their last 2 defensive possessions. They have come out and played well against Minnesota's offense.
Favre on third and 10, complete to Berrien. Kevin Dockery made the tackle. It will depend on the spot. Berrien is close to a Vikings first down. And Terry McCauley signals first down, so the Vikings move the chains on third and 10.
Little stack release at the line of scrimmage. Bernard Berrien behind. A little bit too much distance in between right there. You've got to know where your sticks are. We talk about the receivers knowing where they are so they get the necessary yardage for the first down, but the defenders also. You got to be a little bit tighter when he's breaking down at the sticks.
Adrian Peterson still on his feet. Finally taken down at the Giants' 32.
Now you want to be a linebacker or a safety in the NFL, here's what you're going to have. You're going to have number 28 coming right at you with a full head of steam. He doesn't break stride.
I like how at the end of this run, watch how he puts 2 hands on that ball and covers it up. You know, last week he had that turnover that really cost him the game. I talked to him before this game, and he said, listen, that's in the past. I'm just going to move on. But I like how he's securing that ball when he's going down.
He gained 23 yards. Chester Taylor. And Taylor tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Michael Boley. Final minute, first quarter here in Minneapolis. Vikings scored on their opening drive. Peterson back in, second down and 11.
That offensive line did a nice job on that Peterson run. Also, Darryl doing a little zone blocking up front. Adrian Peterson just sitting right behind, waiting for that hole to open and plowing right through it.
Those guys are so big, Tony. I mean, even as big as Adrian Peterson is, he gets lost behind that front line.
Favre sets up the screen to Sidney Rice. And Rice takes it down to the 13-yard line. Justin Tuck made the tackle as time winds down. Well, the Vikings scored 30 points in the second half on Monday in Chicago, lost in overtime, and here today, Darryl, over 150 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, I thought maybe the Giants had kind of settled down, and the beginning of this drive looked like maybe they were going to be able to be effective, but boy, Minnesota's picked up the pace on them here.
Third down and 1. And Peterson is close. Looks to be just shy of our yellow first down line.
What do you think, Darryl?
I think at home, you take the... You know what? You've been struggling. I say we go for it.
Yeah, I
right?
think so,
at
too.
home. What do you...
You got a couple choices, too. You can do the hard count, try to draw them off sides, you know, and still run the play. But I think, you know, you got to put your team to the test. The 4th and 1, they got to try and make this. You got Adrian Peterson in the backfield.
Yeah, you got, I mean, look at the left side of that line. And, you know, maybe the Giants, they know this too. Brian McKinney, Steve Hutchinson there. I mean, that's a big side. They're going to kick you know, a lot of times the theory is when you're at home, you know, you might be able to tinker with the idea of going with it. On the road, you take the points. But for Minnesota, I don't know. I agree with you, Tony. I think you send a message right here that you have the confidence in this team.
Yeah, your defense is playing well. I mean, looks like he's going to take the points instead, huh?
Well, it looks like he wants to think about it. Vikings call timeout.
Back out. He's kind of going through the same process we are, Tony.
Back and forth.
4th and 1. Peterson in the backfield. 3 wide receivers set.
Well, now, can't do that. Here's your coach. He's giving you a chance.
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You know, he sends the field goal team out. Whoever got to him on the sideline, you get him to change his mind. Your offense goes back out on the field, and that's what you do. That's your response.
He hard counted, and it drew his own guys off sides. Not good.
So it's Ryan Longwell out to attempt a 36-yard field goal from the right hash. Chris Kluwe is the holder. Longwell from 36. It's good. Vikings lead the Giants 10-0, a 9-play, 49-yard drive. Key play, the 23-yard run by Adrian Peterson. Hickson. Hicks it out to the 34-yard line. Back to Minneapolis. Last time Brett Favre faced the Giants, Darryl, the NFC Championship game back in January of '08 up in Green Bay.
A little bit warmer in here this afternoon.
Yes.
A lot warmer.
Game won by the Giants in overtime to advance to the Super Bowl. On first down, this is Ware. Danny Ware or DJ Ware. It depends who's talking to him, I guess.
I'll stay with Danny Ware. You know, the funny thing is reading kind of the transcripts this week when the reporters from Minnesota had the conference call with the people from the Giants. They talked to Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. They were kind of searching for that mojo that the Giants caught in 2007 because they had a tough season. It was up and down, but they got hot, got in the playoffs. They knocked off the number 1, number 2 seed, and then beat the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots. I think the writers from Minnesota were trying to figure out how they did that so they could give the message to their team.
2nd down and 7. Manning to Smith. And remember, in November of 2007, the Giants suffered a terrible loss to the Vikings at home. 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns that day.
Yeah, so they know full well, you know, what that team was late in the season, and I think you look at Minnesota and how they've struggled over the last, you know, month of the year, the inconsistency. You know, hey, you know, these guys did it. They showed that if you can get hot and get into the playoffs, that you can go all the way to a Super Bowl championship.
All you need is a ticket into playoffs.
4th down and 1. The toss to Bradshaw, and Bradshaw is stopped back at the 42-yard line by Jamarcus Sanford, forcing the Giants to punt.
Identifying the run once again, Darryl.
And this is a risky one too, Tony. 3rd and 1, you throw it out on the edge. That's excellent by both defenders.
Identifying that outside run and going, cutting it down at a great angle. Never liked the outside run under 1 yard on.
Sanford Goose, rookie out of Ole Miss, 7th round pick. You saw his alma mater yesterday at the AT&T Cotton Bowl. And the punt is bobbled back at the 9-yard line. But the Vikings fall on it.
Yeah, I think he got it back. He lucked out.
Favre 8 for 10 with a touchdown pass to Schenkel. The gift to Peterson. And Adrian Peterson takes it out to the 17-yard line, a gain of 8.
Wow, standing behind Adrian Peterson, just watching him cut up in there. There was nothing there. I mean, he just stops and goes so fast. He made something out of nothing. That was 100% him on that play right there.
He has those runs, Tony, when there's really nothing there, and instead of being 3 or 4 yards, they become 6 and 7. And then he'll have those short runs where not a lot happens, but then you see that one that he had earlier, that big 23-yarder. He's so explosive.
3rd of the NFL in rushing, leads the league in touchdowns with 17. Favre complete For a first down to Sidney Rice. Terrell Thomas made the tackle. Rice having a breakout season. Came into the game with 77 receptions after catching 15 passes last year.
I think Brett Favre has helped Sidney Rice realize how good he can be as a receiver on the outside, and that's great timing right there. When you see that, that was defended very, very well. But I mean, it's a back shoulder fade. If you are in sync, quarterback, wide receiver, I don't know if you can defend that.
Rice heading to the Pro Bowl, 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. And the play is blown dead.
Offense number 18. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's on Rice. And Sidney Rice said earlier this week, when asked about Brett Favre, Brett has pushed my confidence through the roof.
And when you get to the NFL, you talked about his production last year versus production this year. It probably is all confidence, and there's going to be opportunities. Brett is going to change the dynamic of your team. There's going to be more opportunities. But if you don't have that confidence in your own abilities, you're not going to have the type of season that Sidney Rice had this year.
First down at 15 following the penalty. From the 19-yard line, Favre pump fakes again. Now he heaves it downfield, looking for Rice. He makes the catch.
Oh, my. Sidney Rice did an unbelievable job of getting his hand up so Brett can find him downfield. That was just one he threw up in the dirt right there, Darryl.
Yeah, because he's coming to him right now, Tony. He wants him on the slant, but he's not there. He goes to his second read. He's not there. There goes the hand up, like you said, Tony. It's into double coverage. It's a great throw, but that's also confidence in Brett Favre with Sidney Rice that he's either going to make the play or he's not going to let the ball be intercepted.
A 50-yard pass play, pushing Favre over 4,000 yards for the 6th time in his career. Now Favre on first down. Nice adjustment made by Shanko.
I don't think it's an adjustment, Kenny. I think it's part of the play design. We saw it with Sidney Rice to start this drive, and again, I think this is a back shoulder throw. He sees Michael Johnson turn his hips, and he knows that he has eye contact with Visanthe Shanko, and he just puts it on the back shoulder. As soon as Michael Johnson turns and takes his eyes off of Brett Favre, it goes right to the back shoulder.
27 yards from Favre to Shanko. 1st and goal from just inside the 5. Peterson down to the 1.
What amazing balance Adrian Peterson has. I thought he was going to fall about 3 yards short of where that ball is spotted right there, Darryl.
But you know what, Tony? The point you made earlier is the critical point. Watch him at the end of the run, because everybody knows he's physical and he wants to finish runs. Look at him going after the ball. He's not going to let him take it. I mean, he understands that he's had issues with him, and Terrell Thomas is trying to rip that ball out of his hands, and Adrian Peterson is conscious of it now and more secure at the end of the run.
3 tight end set. 2nd and goal. Peterson. Touchdown. His 18th of the season. Longwell, the extra point. 6 plays, 91 yards, including a 50-yard pass to Sidney Rice.
As you see, 84 of those 91, courtesy of Brett Favre in the passing game. And here's the big one. Look at him go through his progression. And then this is just ad-lib. As Tony said, draw it up in the dirt. Great adjustment by Sidney Rice. Great confidence with Brett Favre for him to go up and get the pass. And then at the end, watch this. Take that.
What a guy. He's a beast, man.
He is. He really is.
He's a throwback. That's a throwback player right there.
Longwell's kickoff taken out the 2 by Hickson. Dominic Hickson out to the 29-yard line.
Yeah, Tony, I've always been a big fan of when people talk about players. If they're a great player, they could transcend an era. You know, somebody from today's game could have gone back and played in the 50s and the 60s, or the great players from back then could have come up and played in today's game. And I think that guy right there, Adrian Peterson, is definitely a guy who could transcend the eras. He could
Absolutely.
go backwards and play with the Jim Browns and the Jim Taylors and the real physical runners from back in that day.
He plays with heart, that's why. Not just athletic ability, he cares about every single run and every time he gets the ball.
And he spent some time with Jim Brown out at Jim's house in California during the offseason talking about that very thing. Eli in trouble. Down he goes back at the 22-yard line, sacked by Ray Edwards, who turned 25 on New Year's Day.
Hey, Tony, this is one of the things that you talk about week in and week out, and that's when you can get pressure with 4. And I think one of the reasons that Minnesota has struggled a little bit here of late is they haven't been able to get their pressure with 4. They did on that play.
Yeah, they did. They did. You got to get push up the middle, too. These guys do a great job of working together and keep going. Ray Edwards does a nice job of keeping that motor going. You never know, when you're going to get the opportunity or when that quarterback's going to hold it for another half a second. That's the difference between getting a sack and a completion downfield.
Vikings lead the league in sacks, 8.5 for Edwards. And incomplete to Bradshaw. And Bradshaw out to the 29-yard line, gain of 7. Antoine Winfield, who has not taken part in every series for the Vikings today. Winfield makes the tackle.
Well, he's going to have to deal with this injury the rest of the season. So if you can minimize his snaps and keep him healthy as best you can going into the playoffs, that's your #1 goal. This defense is not the same without Antoine Winfield.
Brad Childress told us Friday a lot of guys with a similar injury would have headed to the hills by now.
You ain't kidding. He is tough.
3rd down and 10. Giants must get to the 39. Pass is caught by Beckham, but he's tackled by Benny Sepp at the 35-yard line, so the Giants will punt it away once again.
And they are all coming after Eli Manning on this. They're going to get there quick again. I mean, this defensive line for the Minnesota Vikings, they are coming today.
Yeah, they are. Good thing he got rid of this ball because he would have got crushed right there.
Raynaud back deep. Fiegels. And the play is blown dead. False start against the Giants.
4th down.
If I read Terry McCauley's lips correctly, it was number 80, Derek Hagan. We mentioned earlier, Fiegels joining George Blanda, the only 4-decade players in NFL history. Fiegels, 351 consecutive games, longest all-time streak. Who's second? Brett Favre. Raynaud takes it on the run at the 32. So the Vikings once again will have terrific field position. Favre on 1st down, hands it off to Taylor. Out to the 43-yard line.
Hey, Tony, we've got to see who on this Giant defense is going to stand up. It's 17-0 right now, and it's sliding. They were down 24-0 last week against Carolina. Somebody's got to stand up. Somebody in this group, and I think that's one of the concerns that they have is when it goes this way, who is the guy? I think Michael Strahan obviously was that guy. I think Steve Spagnuolo was that guy on the sideline. I don't know if they have that presence right now.
I'm looking on the sideline right now, and I don't see anybody going and trying to get the players up and saying, come on, let's get back in this thing. You need those leaders in situations like this.
Penalty marker as Favre hit Shanko for a 1st down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 72, contact to the head. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. 1st down.
And it's OCU Manura,
Manura
in the news all week.
He knows he's got to. They can't go near Brett Favre. I mean, that was a good hit, but they're going to protect him week in and week out. I mean, I thought that wasn't a penalty, but you got to stay away from Brett. You can't touch him.
See, that's my problem with the helmet-to-helmet contact, Tony. is that was a perfect fit by Osi Umenyiora. His head was up. It was more, face mask to helmet.
Yeah.
It's not the crown of the helmet. And that's my issue with that rule. I understand player safety is #1, but if it's face mask to helmet, I just don't think you can call that.
From the 33-yard line, Favre pump fakes, throws, complete to Shenko. And Shenko has another Vikings first down.
Yeah, but another 5 yards because the Giants are standing around. I mean, he falls to the ground.
Watching him.
Well, they brought it back, so somebody did get a touch on him.
Brett does a nice job with the pump fake. Let's see Shenko. Shenko goes back the other way. He slides, falls down. No one touches him. He gets back up and keeps going.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of any of the Giants touching him. I think it's a question of him rolling into Bruce Johnson. Because they did bring that back. They brought those 5 extra yards back, but it wasn't effort on the Giants. It was just Asante Shenko rolling into Bruce Johnson.
His 7th reception of this first half. From the 15-yard line, off the play fake, Favre rolling right. And now he throws, corner of the end zone to Berrien. But I think Favre was across the line of scrimmage. Reynaud back deep. Fiegels. And the play is blown dead. False start against the Giants.
4th down.
If I read Terry McCauley's lips correctly, it was number 80, Derek Hagan. We mentioned earlier, Fiegels joining George Blanda, the only 4-decade players in NFL history. Fiegels, 351 consecutive games, longest all-time streak. Who's second? Brett Favre. Reynaud takes it on the run at the 32. So the Vikings once again will have terrific field position as they will start at their own 41-yard line. Tomorrow the Bowl Bash continues on Fox, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. 2 undefeateds, Boise State and TCU. Our coverage of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in high definition tomorrow, only on Fox.
Well, as excited as everybody is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area about the Dallas Cowboys and how they're playing, I think the only thing that's rivaling that right now is the Horned Frogs from TCU. Everybody really excited for their opportunity Monday night.
Favre on first down, hands it off to Taylor. Out to the 43-yard line.
Hey, Tony, we've got to see who on this Giant defense is going to stand up. It's 17-0 right now, and it's sliding. They were down 24-0 last week against Carolina. Somebody's got to stand up. Somebody in this group, and I think that's one of the concerns that they have is when it goes this way, who is the guy? I think Michael Strahan obviously was that guy. I think Steve Spagnuolo was that guy on the sideline. I don't know if they have that presence right now.
You know, I'm looking on the sideline right now, and I don't see anybody going and trying to get the players up and saying, come on, let's get back in this thing. You need those leaders in situations like this.
Penalty marker as Favre hit Shenko for a first down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 72, contact to the head. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
I understand player safety is #1, but if it's face mask to helmet, I just don't think you can call that.
From the 33-yard line, Favre pump fakes, throws, complete to Shenko. And Shenko has another Vikings first down.
Yeah, but another 5 yards because the Giants are standing around. I mean, he falls to the ground.
Watching him.
Well, they brought it back, so somebody did get a touch on him.
Brett does a nice job with the pump fake. Let's see Shenko. Shenko goes back the other way. He slides, falls down. No one touches him. He gets back up and keeps going.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of any of the Giants touching him. I think it's a question of him rolling into Bruce Johnson. Because they did bring that back. They brought those 5 extra yards back, but it wasn't effort on the Giants. It was just Asante Shenko rolling into Bruce Johnson.
His 7th reception of this first half. From the 15-yard line, off the play fake, Favre rolling right. And now he throws, corner of the end zone to Berrien. But I think Favre was across the line of scrimmage. He definitely was.
Brett may be 40, but he hasn't lost that many steps. I mean, he was running for a while. He was gaining on the line of scrimmage.
He wasn't running, I'll tell you that right now, Darryl. He just lost where the flags were on the side.
Well, watch him. You know, you run 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Line of scrimmage was the 15.
1006. You run for 6 seconds, you're probably going to be on the line of scrimmage.
He was about 1.5 yards inside.
He never gives up, though. He's always looking for someone downfield. Oh, that was close.
Very close. Wouldn't have mattered.
Nope.
Second down and 13 following the penalty. 5 complete to Percy Harvin. And Harvin is down at the Giants' 8-yard line. Close to 300 yards in this first half.
Even worse than that, 56 yards for the Giants.
Third down and 3.
Free play.
Now they whistled it dead.
The 6th penalty assessed against the Giants.
Should give them first and goal, though.
There was contact. If there wasn't contact on an offensive player, that would have been a free play. That's heads up by Brett Favre, not knowing that and still throwing the ball downfield. You never know.
Michael Johnson jumped. First and goal from the 4. Chester Taylor in the backfield. Taylor. Michael Bolian on the tackle along with Jonathan Goff. Peterson checks back in. Second and goal for the Vikings, who lead the Giants in their season finale 17-0. Marion split to the left. Rice to the right. Harvin in the slot. Peterson in the backfield. Favre out of the shotgun on second and goal. Looking end zone. Throws. Touchdown. Sidney Rice.
Tell you what, that offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings does a great job of clearing out in front of Brett Favre and him just having all day to look downfield and find this receiver, Rice, in the end zone.
I can't believe I'm watching the same team here in the last week of the regular season that I saw in the first 5 weeks of the regular season. They are completely different, these New York Giants. And it just...
No life at all.
Tony, watch the reaction after Sidney Rice catches his touchdown pass. Why the defenders around him? Just watch him. Look at them all. Fingers pointing, heads down. Man.
That is not good. Well, we were looking for someone to stand up with down 17. How about down 24, Darryl? Think somebody will stand up now on that Giants sideline and get these guys going a little bit? They got the talent. They just need to...
I don't know, Tony. Look at that right there. They've been outscored 65-9 in the last 6 quarters. If nobody's done it in the last 6, I don't anticipate anybody doing it in the next 2. The only thing that they can hope for right now is that Brett Favre gets put on the sideline.
Or it could be
You mentioned during our open, Harry Carson, the Hall of Fame linebacker, the former Giant, questioned their heart, their pride. We heard Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. They both apologized to the fans following the performance last Sunday, but today, not much better.
No, maybe worse. Maybe worse. Because it's your response. This is the second week, and you haven't come out and played any better.
Great hustle by Chad Greenway on that play.
Hey, Tony, this could be double hustle. Number one, ball gets knocked loose by Kevin Boss, and here's more hustle by the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right, when that ball's on the ground, that's why you run to the ball.
So that is
Never
the
know when it's going to come out.
30th turnover, Goose, committed by the Giants. They set a league record last season. Only 13 turnovers, 30 this year. From the Giants 40 on first down, off the play fake. A pump fake by Favre. Now Favre throws, and it's caught by Harvin. Touchdown! There is a flag. Harvin into the end zone. 40 yards. 30-0 Minnesota. But it looks like it's coming back.
Offense, number 12. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's on Harvin.
As dangerous as Brett Favre is in the pocket, I think, as of late, he has been more dangerous outside when things break down. They've got, in one season, for them to build the rapport they have built, when the play breaks down and it just kind of, it's all ad-lib, it's all creation. That must have happened early in the route, because I didn't
really
see anything early on at the end of it.
We talked about how many points the Giants have allowed the last 2 weeks. How about the Vikings, who scored 30 in the second half on Monday night? Inside handoff to Peterson. And Peterson is down at the 48-yard line. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning here in Minneapolis.
That seems pretty good.
That's getting into a groove.
That numbers guy, that looks pretty good to me, Darryl.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Favre on 2nd and 18. The screen to Taylor.
Good hustle by Matthias Kiwanuka, because that had potential right there. There's good chase.
Yeah, the offensive linemen were out in front, did a nice job of cutting both linebackers. If Kiwanuka doesn't get him, he's still running.
Gain of 7 for Taylor. Now 3rd down and 11. Vikings doing everything they can to secure a first-round bye. They need a win today, a loss on the Philadelphia Eagles in Dallas. Taylor again. Taylor right over in the snap. Nice.
Yeah, sometimes, Tony, it's about things that you can't coach.
Nope.
There's been a number of plays out here today in the game that it's just the individual effort of the player.
Just knowing where you got to get to. Just heads up. What a great effort right here.
I mean, it doesn't look like he has a chance to get it. Look at the decision in the north-south right there. That's a great effort, and I tell you what, he takes Bruce Johnson with him. Now you got another one of those decisions. Get that fly with the sledgehammer, right, Tony?
Yeah, look, I mean, you're up by 24. I mean, 24, 27, is there that much of a difference?
There would be a 48-yard field goal attempt should Brad Childress elect to kick.
You got 2 inches to go. I say go for it.
They're going.
There you go.
So the Vikings leave the offense on the field. 4th and inches from the Giants 30. 1 minute to play, second quarter. Vikings up by 24. Peterson in the backfield. Rice in motion. And it's the fullback, Tahi. Afahu Tahi, only his 3rd carry this season.
Just get in behind the big offensive line of Minnesota and push the pile.
He does a nice job. He gets stonewalled in the beginning, and then he just slides to the right, falls forward. That's all you got to do. Watch it right here. Boom, he runs in, keeps the legs pumping, falls forward and gets the first.
He did something. He's coming off. Pulling his fingers.
They were trying to rip the ball out there, that little bit of a pile. That happens sometimes.
They just happen to get a finger, huh?
It'll be interesting to hear Michael Strahan's comments about these Giants.
Well, I tell you, they really miss his leadership. They miss his presence, and there's intangibles with a player. Michael had great production, but the intangibles that he brought to this team, nobody has been able to replace that.
Favre looking for Berrien.
Bill Sheridan, I mean, he's got to be, you know, at his wit's end too. You know, it's not like you're not trying. You're not trying to fix these problems. I mean, that's the fine line that you walk between player and coach. It's always both parties. It's never one side or the other.
2nd and 10. Harvin has a first down and more. Takes it down to the 12-yard line of the Giants. 17 yards from Favre to Harvin.
And now you've got a coordinator and a quarterback who are one step ahead of you, because you bring pressure right there, and they've got the absolute perfect adjustment called to take advantage of it.
Favre, end zone. And it's broken up by Aaron Rouse, Favre's former teammate in Green Bay.
That looked like the same play that they scored on earlier, Darryl.
Well, it was the exact same play they just ran. They pumped it this time, and they let Percy Harvin carry it all the way through a little bit farther, tried to hit him into the second window.
.11 seconds remaining in the half. By allowing 24 points today, Giants, Darryl, have now allowed 400 points in a season. For only the 3rd time in franchise history. First time since 1980. Favre on 2nd down to the end zone. Rice, does he come down with it? Yes, touchdown. He took it away from Thomas.
Went right over the back and got that ball right from the defender.
That's one of the reasons why you have to be assignment true all the time, because every once in a while, you're going to run into a player who just makes a great play. Terrell Thomas is right there in coverage, but Sidney Rice just makes a great play.
That's called going up and getting it.
Longwell, the extra point. 31-0 Minnesota. 3rd touchdown pass of the half for Brett Favre.
When we went to our 3rd Super Bowl back in the '95 season, we had a terrible month of December. We got beat by the Redskins. We had the 4th down disaster at Philadelphia. Won a real close game against the Giants, 21-20, and then we came back and had a really, really good game, our last game that season. We rode that momentum all the way through to the Super Bowl.
You got to find a way, Darryl.
And you know that Minnesota's been searching for that. They've been trying to capture that. I tell you what, I knew they were going to come out and have a good performance today, but I did not expect them to be this good. They have been great across the board.
Yeah, they found it in this first half. And doing the little extra things like we've been pointing out, going and getting them first downs, going up and getting the ball. I mean, that stuff that you talk about that you can't teach. They're doing everything right in this first half.
So the Vikings follow up their 30-point second half in Chicago by going one better. Beckham on the return. It's the 20th time Favre has thrown 3 touchdown passes in the first half of the game. He's thrown for 271 yards. 2 touchdowns for Sidney Rice. All smiles on the Viking sideline.
Well deserved. They've come out and they've done what they set out to do. They needed to get this turned around, and I love Jared Allen's quote during the course of the week. You know, sometimes it's not about scheme, and it's not about how you defend this situation. Sometimes it's just a group of guys coming out and giving their best effort. They've done that here in the first half.
Manning to Bradshaw. So Bradshaw will pick up a big chunk of yardage on the final play of the half. Tackled at the 32. Bradshaw gains 26. Dominic Hickson out to the 23-yard line as we check in downstairs with Goose.
Hey, I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Childress, and he said, I asked him if he was going to rest any players like Brett in this third quarter. He said, no, we're going to come out, we're going to play, we're going to take any, possibility of this team who is very capable of coming back out of it, and then we'll worry about resting players. So the third quarter, they're full steam ahead.
Brad Childress told us Friday he has 3 different schedules set for the upcoming week for his team, as Manning and the Giants start from the 23-yard line, and Eli's pass is caught out at the 29 by Steve Smith. Childress has one schedule if the Vikings do have the bye and do not have to play next week. He has another schedule if they have to play on Saturday, and then a third schedule if their wild card game is on Sunday.
Well, unfortunately, they let control of their own destiny slip out of their hands, last Monday night against Chicago. Or you come out and play the way you played today, you only got to worry about one schedule. But now, they've taken care of their business. Now they're going to have to wait and see what happens on the second half for a doubleheader with the Eagles at the Cowboys.
On 2nd and 3, it's Bradshaw, and Childress, of course, the former offensive coordinator under Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Andy worked for Brad back in northern Arizona. Childress was the offensive coordinator, and Andy Reid was his offensive line coach, so they go way back with one another.
We talk about Adrian Peterson being a throwback. Brad Childress is a throwback also, Darryl. What a great guy, great coach. Just whenever you talk to him, he just, I don't know, man. You just get the chills down your back. Great motivator, just a great person all around. I would love to play for a guy like that.
They're down in 3. Manning over the middle, intended for Boss. Chad Greenway, who had an interception earlier, got a piece of it.
Everybody talks about the defensive line here for Minnesota, and with E.J. Henderson out, there's been a lot of pressure that has been put on Jasper Brinkley to fill in there. But when you talk about Ben Lieber and you talk about Chad Greenway, I think those two guys on the outside, they've got a very, very good linebacking core. We've seen a couple of nice plays today from Chad Greenway.
Fiegels punching from his own 20-yard line to Raynaud. And he lost the football again on the initial hit by Zach Diassi. But the Vikings able to recover. Back in Minneapolis with the Vikings leading the Giants 31-0. Vikings 30 second half points Monday in Chicago. 31 first half points here today against the Giants. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line as Chester Taylor lost the football, but it's recovered back at the 25-yard line by Bryant McKinney.
That's the 3rd time the ball has been on the ground, twice in special teams and once right here. But like you said, Darryl, those players are always around the ball, always aware of what's going on, and they got all 3 back.
Yeah, Chester just got to squeeze it a little bit better. He got spun around. As he spun, the ball came off of his body, got loose, and you've got pursuit coming down the line of scrimmage. That ball will come out.
2nd down and 11.
Kenny Albert just jumped in the booth, Goose. Throw the flag.
Where were you, Kenny?
Still with you, Goose. Out to the 33. Runs Peterson.
We talked about last week's second half and this week's first half. So that's a game, okay? We've got that 60 minutes. Look at those numbers. That is astronomical. Almost 350 yards per half, Goose.
41 first downs. That's insane.
And to put that 684 yards in perspective over the last 2 halves, the most yards the Vikings have ever gained in one full game, 622. So they surpassed that in the second half last week, first half today.
They did 622 in a game?
Back in 1969. Favre took a hit from Human Europe. And a penalty marker is thrown.
pass interference, defense, automatic first down.
This is one of the things that Brad Childress may have to think about. I mean, for some reason, O.C. Umenyiora gets turned loose right to Brett Favre. And you want to keep the hammer down and finish this game and send a message. But if you were going to take him out at 7-6 versus Carolina, you might want to think about taking him out at 31-0 versus the Giants.
Well, you want to make sure that you go and block O.C. Umenyiora. You don't want him on a direct line to your quarterback.
Part of the controversy 2 weeks ago when Favre took numerous hits against Carolina. As Darrell mentioned, the score was 7-6 at the time. As Harvin is taken down at the 42. Favre did not want to come out of that game, but in this case, 31-0, I don't think he would have much of an argument.
And that Tavares Jackson, you could get him some quality reps in here against a good defense, and he could learn a little bit. But I understand the thought process. We talked about it this weekend, the bye, as opposed to going through and playing and continuing on a roll. If you finished this game the way you finished the last half of Chicago in the first half today, you've gotten a lot of momentum. What Tony talked about at the top, you've generated a tremendous amount of momentum going into the playoffs.
Sidney Rice.
Just a little slant route right there. Second window again, in stride by Brett Favre. Bernard Berrien hustling down, trying to get some blocks. Here comes Adrian Peterson in. Don't know what he was trying to do.
He wanted to get in on the action a little bit. A little blocking downfield.
So Favre goes over 300 as he hands off to Peterson. And Adrian is hard to bring down. He's inside the 15 to the 14. Peterson gains 15 yards, and there's Favre, his 61st career 300-yard game. Only Dan Marino has more. Only 2 more than Brett Favre.
21 out of 25.
That's pretty good, huh?
His wife, Deanna. Think she ever thought she'd be rooting for the Vikings?
There's probably in the Favre family not a lot of good days here at the Metrodome before this season.
Not any bad days this year. Perfect home record. From the 14, Favre to Harvin. And Harvin is inside the 10. Michael Johnson made the tackle. Giants lost Bruce Johnson, one of their defensive backs, to a concussion earlier today.
Michael Boley's there. He saw the screen, he got out there, but he couldn't finish the play.
Now 2nd and 5 from the 9-yard line. Penalty markers, free play for Favre. Favre throws, and Jim Kleinsaucer could not stay in bounds.
Half the distance to the goal.
Well, good job by Adrian Peterson getting up there. Brett Favre just gave him a pat on the head. He got in there and protected him from taking the shot and allowed Brett to extend that a little bit to get the free play. But Adrian Peterson stepped up in there to pick up the defender who'd come in offsides.
I'll tell you what, the Giants do a nice job of going and threatening both A-gaps, so they just got to get their timing. They can't listen to the cadence. They got to go on the snap of the ball. Brett's really keeping them off balance that hard count.
Chester Taylor in the backfield. 1st and goal from the 5. Taylor, tackled by Johnson, Michael Johnson. .31 lead for the Vikings since 1950, Darrell. Today, only the 2nd time the Giants have trailed by at least 31 at halftime. Happened back in September of '06. They trailed Seattle 35-3. Trailed by 31 at halftime today. Power split to the right. Empty backfield, 3rd down and 2. Favre under pressure, and the pass was batted back by Danny Clark.
I tell you, he stands into the last minute. That's the thing that I've always respected about Brett Favre, is how much he loves the game. Because watch, they get everything blocked up, but you got to turn one guy free, and then you just hope your quarterback can get it out on time. Unfortunately for Brett, it was Justin Tuck who got turned free to him. It doesn't bother him, though. He pops up. He's got a smile on his face.
So here's Ryan Longwell, who hit from 36 earlier. This a 24-yard attempt from the right hash. Cluey puts it down, and the kick by Longwell is good. Brett Favre and the Vikings extend their lead. You know, Favre is going to make some history once the playoffs begin. No 40-year-old quarterback has ever started a postseason game in NFL history. Phil Simms of the Giants, at the age of 39, the oldest quarterback to ever start a playoff game in the National Football League. Here's Dominic Hickson. Hickson out to the 29-yard line. Asher Allen brought him down.
You know, when it's all said and done, Kenny, there's probably not going to be a lot of passing records.
Holding, receiving team number 41. 10-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
And Philadelphia is one of the most explosive offenses in the league.
Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And whether they're throwing the ball or running the ball, the big play is a huge staple of their offense. And how does that injury to Jamal Jackson, the center, impact the protection, the blocking up front? That's going to be a great game. Looking forward to that one.
Eagles have won 6 in a row. They've beaten the Giants twice this year. Eagles scoring 85 points in their 2 wins over the Giants. 1st down and 15. Manning in trouble. Jared Allen the sack, the forced fumble. And it looks like the recovery as well.
What a nice job of coming around the corner, getting the ball out, and getting on it.
14.5 sacks for Jared Allen. 3rd consecutive year with at least 14 sacks. Joins Reggie White.
Not just the sack, but the sack fumble. How many balls have we seen on the ground today? And every time, it's a Minnesota Viking that comes up with it.
Awareness. Look at him on the corner here. Comes all the way around, strips it, gets on it, and gets up. That's what's awesome. Gets up. No one touches him, and he gains a couple more yards.
Exclusive company. Only Reggie White and Jared Allen have put together back-to-back seasons with at least 14 sacks. The swing pass to Peterson, tackled by Thomas.
Doesn't matter what the score is. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's just seeding right now for New England. The important thing is, how is Wes welcome?
Carted off earlier. We saw the highlight at halftime. 5 to Harvin. And Percy Harvin is down at the 2-yard line, tackled by C.C. Brown, a gain of 5.
Tony, it just looks like they're playing at a different pace. Minnesota is just, they're a step quicker.
I'll tell you what, this Minnesota offense is way ahead. They know that the blitz is coming. Everybody's on the same page. Brett gets the ball out quick, and they get downfield. They get the ball, and they get downfield, vertical.
Remember, the Giants have allowed at least 40 points in a game 4 times already this season. 3rd and goal. Favre looking end zone. Now he throws, and it's bobbled and then dropped by Shenko.
I'm not even going to call that a bobble. That would hit him right in the gut. Little misdirection, does a great job finding his way across formation. Oy. Wonder if C.C. Brown got a little tip on that.
Vikings leave their offense on the field on 4th down. Peterson lined up behind the fullback Tahi. 5. Tahi, touchdown. The The first touchdown of Tahi's 4-year career.
No one ever covers the fullback, right, Darryl?
Yeah, you can steal a few down on the goal line, Tony.
He's keeping that football.
Absolutely. You got to keep the first one. I got mine.
Why the Vikings left their offense on the field on 4th down with a 34-point lead.
Well, why not? I mean, there is no mercy rule. There is no uncle in the NFL. So, you know, if you're a Giant fan or a Giant player and you're complaining about that, it's 4th and goal from the 2.
And his Giants trail the Vikings in their season finale 41-0. Inside handoff to Ware. And Ware is out across the 25 to the 26-yard line, a gain of 3.
Well, I don't think handing the ball off is going to get you back into this game at all.
Well, you know what, Tony, you don't want to go 3 and out, though. You come back and start throwing it all over the place. You got Jared Allen and the guys on this defense coming off the edges. Ray Edwards, you're just asking for it to be even worse.
Yeah.
Play your normal game plan now. Just finish out the game. Screens, a couple runs sprinkled in, but you can't become one-dimensional even at 41-0.
Second down and 7. Manning's pass intended for the tight end Boss. Giants started the season 5-0, as most of our viewers probably know by now.
Have we mentioned that a lot today?
And as far as teams that have missed the playoffs after a 5-0 start, the last to do it, the 2003 Vikings, who started the season 6-0. And the Denver Broncos could join that club as well.
Yes, they could later today. After a 6-0 start.
Giants will be over the 15th since the merger in 1970 to start 5-0 and miss the playoffs. Manning loses the football.
Did they have it blown dead?
Jared Allen had it. Thinking they're calling it in the grass, Darryl.
Brian Robinson with the sack. Giants send out the punting unit.
You can have a plan for Jared Allen. You can put a tight end over there from time to time. You can have your backs chip on him. But at some point, it's going to come down to David Deal and Jared Allen, and he's winning the battle right now. They're so worried about him that it actually comes from on the inside with Brian Robinson.
4th down.
4.5 sacks this season for Robinson. Third sack today for the Vikings. Eagles punting from his own 7. Good kick taken by Reynaud at the 34. Holds on to it this time. There is a flag. 2 flags back around the 10-yard line.
Prior to the kick, holding, kicking team number 39. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Here is Tavares Jackson, who's attempted only 15 passes this season. Has started 20 career games for the Vikings. 6 starts last year, including the playoff loss to Philadelphia. Albert Young in at running back. From the Giants' 41-yard line, all kinds of movement.
Offense number 7. 5-yard penalty. First down.
A little rusty there, Darryl. Needs to knock a little bit of the rust off.
Just a little bit. Maybe some nerves.
Yeah, sometimes a quarterback, you forget what the snap count is. Which is understandable. Let's try that again.
Hand off to Young. Albert Young in his 2nd season out of Iowa. Remember, before the Vikings brought in Favre, it was a competition between Tavares Jackson and Sage Rosenfels as to who would start for Minnesota this season.
And really, we've talked about the impact that Brett has had on Sidney Rice with confidence, and I'm sure a lot of the players on the offense, but you wonder with Tavares Jackson and Sage Rosenfels, you wonder how much of an impact he's had on them, his preparation, how he studies film. And we saw Brett, in between breaks talking to Tavares before the snap, giving him some of the little subtleties of the game.
Jackson complete to the tight end Dugan. And Jeff Dugan gains 7. 41-0 Vikings. Goose, remember that little game you played against the Giants after the 2000 season?
Yep.
Do you remember who they beat in the NFC Championship game?
They beat Minnesota, and they beat them pretty bad, too.
Remember what the score was?
41, 42?
41-0.
41-0. Yeah, I do remember that. I watched that game film many a times.
They may have inflated their confidence going up against your Ravens, perhaps.
False sense of security.
So 41-0 Giants over the Vikings that day. 41-0 Vikings over the Giants today. Jackson complete. Harvin first down. 18 yards from Jackson to Percy Harvin. Well, the Vikings continue to gash this Giants defense. 434 total yards for Minnesota. Giants with 78.
Under 100 yards. Almost through 3 quarters.
First and 10 from the 20. This is Young. Albert Young picks up a first down.
Tony, what does it mean right now? I mean, we can speculate about the Giants defense when Brett Favre is in there with all the weapons, but now you bring Tavares Jackson in, and is there any difference? There's really not much change in the results.
No, not at all. I mean, it's just, right now I'm looking at this Giants defense. I see 11 guys out there playing as 11 individuals. I don't see them playing as a team, playing together, communicating, working together, and I see a Minnesota Vikings offensive line that's just pounding them. I mean, they're running it right down their throat. It's not like they're doing anything that's, secretive. They're letting them know what they're going to do. Like right here, boom, we're going to run the ball at you. Stop us.
You guys both played on 1 in 15 teams. In games like this down the stretch, the last game, were there teammates who already had their plane tickets home, their suitcases packed? Could that be going on with the Giants today?
Well, at 41-0, I think that sure might be running through their mind. But you know what? You know what got me through it? Or even though if we were out of the playoffs and I played with the Colts and 1 in 15, you know what? This film is going to be around for a long time. It's not going anywhere. And I never wanted to embarrass myself and play bad. So I went out and gave everything you possibly can. And that's what these guys got to do. They got to understand that this situation that they're in, they're down, by 41. Still, everyone's going to be seeing how you go and act when a situation like this happens. Do you just cash it in, or do you go out there and try to make a difference and still play your heart out?
And that was one of my big motivating factors throughout my career, is this film goes out to all your peers, and you don't want to be somebody, whether it's a big lead and you shut it down, or you're not considered in every snap player that you take plays off. And I'm not going to lie to you, Kenny. The last week of our 1 in 15 season, my tickets were punched and my bags were packed, but I went out and I played 3 hours of football before I left that day. I was not mentally checked out.
Second and goal from the 14. Jackson's pass is caught at the 9-yard line by Klein-Saucer. Gain of 5.
When you look at this Giants defense and what happened to them last week against Carolina, they were embarrassed. They were literally embarrassed. And you would figure, I'm thinking, all right, these guys go, they had a wake-up call. They're not going to go and have that bad taste that they have this week fall in, that they can't get it out of their mouth until next season in September. I mean, this is not a good situation or a good feeling to carry with you through the offseason.
I think that Tom Coughlin's concerns have been validated today, because when they got beat by Carolina last week, they knew that Carolina wanted to run the ball and protect Matt Moore, and they still got beat that badly.
Jackson to the end zone looking for Greg Lewis.
Now this week they're coming into Minnesota with Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson. They knew that combination was much more stout than Jonathan Stewart and Matt Moore, and I think what you're seeing here is Coach Coughlin's concerns absolutely validated by the play of his players. Tony, that game plan last week by Carolina was as simplified as you can be.
Basic as could be.
27-yard attempt for Longwell. Longwell now 3 for 3 today, as the Vikings extend their lead to 44-0. So Brett Favre throws 4 touchdown passes now with Tavares Jackson in the game at quarterback. A drive downfield, and the Vikings kick a field goal. The Giants continue to be embarrassed.
They really do, and at some point, you know, what do you do? The addition of Tavares Jackson at quarterback has done really nothing. And as Tony pointed out, when it's about running the football and protecting your quarterback, a lot of that goes to the offensive line. They've lost that battle in the trenches. Sidney Rice and Percy Harvin are still on the field. Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor on the side, but they've got their other running back in there following the holes that the offensive line is making. So now it becomes that situation where, okay, you know, the leader of that group, the leader of the offense that was just moving up and down the field with us in the first half is on the side. The problems are a little bit deeper. It's one thing when you're talking about who's going to be considered, if not the greatest quarterback to play the game, definitely one of the greatest to play the game. He's on the sideline right now, and in that drive, nothing really changed.
And for the Vikings, despite all this, despite the 44 points and 400-plus yards of offense, if the Eagles win today, Minnesota must play next week. They will not get the bye. Vikings will start the playoffs at home, but the question is, will it be next week or the week after?
Well, and that's just a discussion that it depends on what team you talk to. If you talk to New Orleans, and then whoever the other team is that gets the number 2 seed, you talk to them about what does it mean to have the bye, they're going to have positive things to say. And if you talk to the people who have to go out and play the following week, during wild card weekend, they're going to say, hey, we're playing great right now. We don't want that week off. So it's really whatever situation you get in is the coaches convincing the players that this is the best thing for them moving forward. I don't know, Minnesota, the way they've played the last half of Chicago and this entire game today, maybe they don't want that week off.
Vikings can finish as the number 2, 3, or 4 seed in the NFC, depending on the results, as Hakeem Nicks loses the football and Kevin Boss recovers on the final play of the 3rd quarter. The Vikings have scored on their last 7 possessions. Minnesota leading the Giants 44-0, as Manning's pass is caught by Ramses Barden, the first reception of his career. He was the Giants' 3rd-round draft pick out of Cal Poly.
And it was interesting talking to Tom Coughlin this week and asking him, hey, are you going to do anything with your roster? Are there some guys you'd like to take a look at during the course of the game? And he said, you know what? We've had an opportunity to see most of the guys because of the injuries we faced down the stretch. And we brought up Ramses Barden specifically, and he said, you know, I've seen him a lot at practice. He's worked really hard. We're excited about what we're going to be able to do in the offseason. But because of that shoulder injury to Mario Manningham, he's got an opportunity to get on the field today.
He had a terrific collegiate career and caught a touchdown pass in 32 consecutive games as Manning hit Smith out at the 36. A touchdown in 32 consecutive games for Barden, which broke Jerry Rice's all-time record.
And the big thing about Ramses is when you get down into the red zone, he's going to create some matchup problems because of his height, because of his ability to jump. So that was one area that we thought maybe the Giants would try and maybe force him into, you know, push him a little bit quicker down into that red zone area as a weapon. But they've taken the kind of the slow path and make sure he develops all his skills across the board.
He is a big target.
6'6". Played in 2 games earlier this season. 2nd and 7. Wide open is Derek Hagan. And Hagan picks up a first down. A lot of different scenarios in the AFC. Jets and Ravens both in with a win. It's Hagan again. And Hagan is tackled at the 33-yard line by number 33, Jamarcus Sanford, after picking up 15. And Eli Manning now with 120 yards today, so that puts him right at 4,000 for the season. Favre reached 4,000 earlier. 10 quarterbacks, a new NFL record, have thrown for 4,000 yards this year, including Favre and Manning. This is Ware, and Ware takes it inside the 20, picks up another first down.
Very quietly, individually for Eli Manning, it has been a good season. And it was interesting right away. You talk to Eli about what he had the opportunity to do. Touchdown to turnover ratio, the TD to interception, outstanding right there. He gave all the credit to his wide receivers. He was so proud of the production that they had and everything that they did this season. I mean, without missing a beat, tell us some of the good things that have happened for you this year. He went right to the wide receivers.
Kevin Boss is a big part of that also, Darryl. I'll tell you, we've had a bunch of Giants games. Talk about a guy who takes hits and beat up and plays hurt. Kevin Boss had a great year this year.
And Eli told us he met with the wide receiver group on Friday. He told them you've surpassed everybody's expectations. I'm proud of you. Let's finish strong. There's no reason we can't have the best wide receiver core in the NFL next year. And Tony's right. Another terrific season for the tight end Kevin Boss, who was a big part of the Giants' Super Bowl run 2 years ago.
We just have to teach Kevin Boss how to fall a little bit more gracefully.
Here's Ware. And by the way, by reaching 4,000 yards, Eli joining Phil Simms and Kerry Collins, only the third Giants quarterback in history to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. He lived here in Minnesota as a 3- and 4-year-old. His dad, Archie, finished his career with the Vikings. Eli said he doesn't remember much about it, except that his mom, right around Thanksgiving, took the boys home. Got a little too cold for Peyton, Cooper, Eli, and Olivia.
Yeah, I miss out on these days up here where it's a balmy 6 degrees.
So they went back to New Orleans right around Thanksgiving both years. Pass is caught by Smith down at the 6. Archie played in 2 games for the Vikings in '83 and then made 2 starts for Minnesota in '84. He played his final ever game in this building. Eli turned 4 2.5 weeks later.
Boy, Steve Smith, Tony, he's banged up right now. He took a shot on the end of the run by Danny Ware. He actually got hit by Danny Ware at the end of the run. And you talk about a tough guy. There's another one right. The last 3 plays, it's like he's been dragging himself back to the huddle to get ready for the next snap.
8 catches for Smith today, 105 on the season. Manning to Smith, and he comes down with it at the 1.
Tony, you mentioned about finishing the game and having this go around the NFL so people can see how you play. Well, Steve Smith's going to be proud of what he's putting on tape right now.
Absolutely.
He was hanging by a thread at the end of that drive right there and finished it out and contributed all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Second and goal from the 1. Ware in the backfield, lined up behind the fullback Hitchcock. And this is Ware. And he is in for the touchdown. First career touchdown for Danny Ware.
Good job by Danny Ware getting his shoulders turned. And Will Beatty, you saw him at the end of that run working against Jasper Brinkley. That's another positive that's come out of the last couple of weeks. Kareem McKenzie's been down. They've brought in their...
The Giants are finally on the scoreboard as Brett Favre salutes the crowd. 4 touchdown passes for Favre today. Reached 4,000 yards for the season. Vikings are headed to the playoffs. Vikings will win for the 12th time this year as Reynaud takes it out. Reynaud out across the 20. Minnesota Vikings have won their 2nd consecutive division title. They are headed to the postseason. And how about their progression under Brad Childress in 4 years? 6 wins, 8 wins, 10, and now 12.
Just keep moving forward. As long as you're getting better and better each year, those players buy in the offseason. Everybody comes back focused. I mean, that's going to be the big challenge for the Giants. Brad Childress he's established this, and they have been able to progress. And he was aggressive going after Brett Favre to help him get to a 12-win season. The Giants are going to be coming back in March, and this is their first year out of the playoffs in 4 years, and it'll be interesting for Tom Coughlin and his staff, to see how the guys are responding when they get back to start their offseason program.
The Giants will end this season 8-8.
After these last 2 games now, they might start next week on their offseason program.
illegal snap, offense number 65. 5-yard penalty, second down.
You know, you talk about Childress and what he's been able to do with this Vikings organization. His first 3 years, he had Kelly Holcomb, Gus Frerotte, Brad Johnson, Brooks Bollinger, Tavares Jackson. But now you bring in Favre and the stakes grow. Well, he has started 22 playoff games. He's won a Super Bowl, and he will be the quarterback to lead the Vikings into the playoffs this year.
Well, I thought it was interesting listening to his conversation with Tony at the beginning of the game, where, you know, he kind of kidded around when he came in here that he wasn't brought in to throw the ball and make all the big plays. And yeah, I think everybody thought when he came here that, boy, that's going to be tough. You know, they've got Adrian Peterson. If you load up the box, Brett Favre is sure going to make you pay for that. But people are still going to come in to stop Adrian. That's going to be their #1 concern, and they're probably going to stay in that most of the day. So Brett has been able to benefit from him, and it's been tough to find that balance. You've got two great players, and I think it's always difficult when you've got a great running back and a great quarterback to find that balance.
Fans have already started chanting, "Let's go Cowboys."
Yeah, it started.
Albert Young battles his way up to the 28, but not enough, so the Vikings will punt for only the second time today. Cowboys win and the Vikings would earn the bye. There is at least one Eagles fan in the house.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. You love when games, the last game of the year comes down with big stakes like that. Those are the best. I was able to play in a couple of them. There's nothing better with everything in the line the final week of the season.
Fleury's punt. Fair catch called for by Hickson. After Eli Manning reached 4,000 yards during the Giants' last possession. Shovel pass to Ware. You know, the fans cheering for the Cowboys here in Minneapolis. The Dallas win and Minnesota gets the bye, but if the Eagles win, the Vikings will host Dallas here next weekend.
I don't think they'll be cheering for Dallas.
No, you don't think so?
1 week fans.
Carr complete to Smith, and Steve Smith has a first down.
Not a bad day for Eli Manning. You know, obviously not the finish, not only to the game, but to the entire season that obviously he would have liked. But you know what? He hung in there. We've talked about the Giant defense, but I think the opposite can be said about this offense. They've hung in there. They've played all the way through the games. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, to see how much change happens with this Giants team, the Giants staff.
Carr fires. There's a penalty flag. The catch is made by Hakeem Nicks, and he takes it into Vikings territory.
Well, there's a helmet off, so I'm assuming hands to the face.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, offense number 76. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on the right guard, Chris Snee.
Right there, number 76, Chris Snee. You know, some of the guys, they say, you saw Chris looking at the sideline. Hey, I didn't really, you know, have a whole lot of it, but you see the replay and you're like, you know, sometimes you can't really defend that one. You just can't defend that action. That was pretty obvious for Chris.
So the Giants back at their own 19-yard line. David Carr, the former first overall pick by the Houston Texans back in 2002. Started 79 games for Houston and Carolina under pressure. And the pass was deflected. Now, Carr played the entire second half here in Minnesota, week 17 last year. Sort of a reverse scenario. The Giants had already wrapped up the #1 seed, so the game meant nothing to them. Vikings wound up winning on a last-second field goal and won their division. Carr played the entire second half for Manning in that game. Here's Carr on 2nd and long. Fires downfield too far for Nicks. They certainly are, Kurt. If the Cowboys win, the Vikings will have a bye, and they could play any of 4 teams the following week. As Clark shovels it to Ware, and Ware's tripped up by Sapp. And if the Eagles win, the Vikings would finish with the number 3 seed and host Dallas next weekend.
One of the unique things about Cowboy Stadium is that the players take the field through the center of this area on the field, and I've always been interested to see, and we had to wait till week 17, but how the Philadelphia Eagle players were going to feel about going through the middle of all those fans. We saw Donovan McNabb coming through. Looks like everything went off without a hitch.
Bulletproof glass. That was a good thing. It's bulletproof glass. You were there yesterday. How was that new stadium?
It's phenomenal. Well, there's one thing that Tavares has learned from Brett.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 96. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Barry Cofield.
He's got that hard count down. That's easy to do in this stadium. It's nice and quiet when that offense is on the field.
It's also nice and quiet when half the people leave because it's 44-7.
True.
Shouldn't they want to stay indoors?
Yeah, right. Why rush outside today?
It's only -15 out there. It's not too bad.
Our penalty, the 13th called against the Giants today. This is Albert Young. And speaking of penalty flags, we said our best to one of the good guys in all of sports, the vice president of officiating with the National Football League, Mike Pereira, who's going to hang up his penalty markers following this season.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same without having Mike Pereira around, and he's usually a part of our seminar that we do every summer getting ready to start the football season. Comes in and goes over the points of emphasis and some of the new rule changes, and then during the course of the season sends out an email with some of the interesting calls over the last couple of weeks to keep us up to speed. And we've actually got a number into his bunker when we get one of those crazy plays and we need some clarification on. We're allowed to call directly into Mike. So Mike, it's not going to be the same without you. Thanks for all your help over the years. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really going to miss him during the seminar. I mean, he did a great job there. I got some good sleep during his conversations when he was trying to explain stuff to us. So Mike now I might have to pay attention a little bit, but good guy. He's just a phone call away right there. That's the Mike Pereira phone right there. We can call him anytime.
And he's not going to get off easy. Even in retirement, we'll still be calling him to interpret the rules and answer some of our questions. Third down at 3. As we finish our discussion on Mike Pereira, another penalty mark. How appropriate.
He was deep in thought there.
I think Brett's falling asleep like Goose during our seminar.
No, he's not. He's up.
He's nodding, but nothing's being said. There we go. There's some conversation.
Chatting with Tom West of the Vikings public relations staff. Third down at 8. Off the play fake. Jackson complete to Klein Saucer. And the senior member of this Viking squad picks up 12 yards and a Minnesota first down.
A little bootleg action. You get out to the other side. Jim Klein Saucer out in the flat.
He's a big man trucking down the field right there, huh, D?
He is.
Boom.
DJ Johnson coming up, putting a big hit on him. He's got to understand when you're big like that and thick, they're not going to go up top. They're going to come down around your thighs.
Right at your legs.
Adrian Peterson liked it. Albert Young out to the 36. And a timeout is taken by the Giants. C.C. Brown slow to get up.
Yeah, he's got, I think he's got a pinched nerve there, Goose.
Yeah, a little burner.
Yeah.
You gotta hit with your head up. You see what he just did right there? He put his head down. You do not want to tackle like that. All the young kids out there, you look and see what you tackle. You can get seriously hurt. You don't want that.
2:36 remaining. Brett Favre and the Vikings will now await the Eagles and the Cowboys, which will determine whether the Vikings will play next week. There's Young. Again, if the Eagles win, they will get the #2 seed, and the Vikings would host Dallas next week. And if the Cowboys win, the Vikings will have a bye. So the Vikings need a Philadelphia loss in Dallas. Well, there are two scenarios that are pretty easy in the AFC. If the Jets win, they are in. If the Ravens win, they are in. Ravens out in Oakland. Jets will close Giant Stadium tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. Brett Favre, a Jet last year. His Vikings 2 minutes away from the end of the regular season. Jared Allen of the Vikings heading to the postseason. Their 12th win today. 44-7 lead over the Giants. As Tavares Jackson takes a knee. This is week 17, so we want to thank our entire crew that have been with us all season long, and we'll work one of the divisional playoff games in 2 weeks. Our producer Barry Landis, director Michael Frank, associate directors Jeremy Green and Darren Foster, the associate producer Chirag Devaskar, technical producer David M. Hill, technical director Chris Castro, the senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, the executive producers of Fox Sports Ed Gorin and David Hill. Thanks to Dave Corris crunching the numbers with Ed Bulba, Ricky Camps, Matt Banovic, Lou Tribbiani, and John Warner.
And all our camera guys, John and Winnie up here in the booth, and our entire technical staff. We've had a couple quick turnarounds, especially one weekend down in Atlanta with the SEC championship game and then the Atlanta-Philadelphia game the next day. And thanks for everything, guys.
Big win for Brett Favre and the Vikings. For Moose and Goose, this is Kenny Albert. So long for Minneapolis.